to try to scare you to not invite your family and friends over for Christmas. Let me say that again. They are going to try to prevent you from having a normal Christmas. Why? Because they know if people like me that are unjabbed, unmasked, healthier than the jabbed and masked, show up to family and Christmas dinners, and they're making fun of Aunt Sally, who's wearing 2 masks at the dinner table, and they're making fun of Uncle George because he took his 4th jab and he's twitching at the dinner table, and I'm sitting there, no mask and no jab, and I'm perfectly healthy, and everybody's laughing and having a good time and not afraid of each other. They do not want that, because everybody will realize that they didn't need the mask. They didn't need the jab. And then they'll be far less likely to go along with any more of the government's BS. So what are they going to do? They're going to tell everybody, don't invite people over unless they wear a mask. Don't invite people over unless they get their booster. They're going to try to scare people to stop them from coming together. They're going to try to create as much division, fear, isolation, and hopelessness as possible. So if you want to be a freedom fighter, if you want to have a big effect on the consciousness of the world and the state of world affairs going into 2023, all you have to do this holiday season is spread the love, re-invite everybody that you hadn't invited the last 2 years. Don't ask them to wear a mask. Don't ask them to be boosted, and just have a good Christmas and family holidays. That's all you have to do in the next month. And you will see the whole COVID narrative collapse. And then we can focus on the worldwide global recession that they are literally doing everything they can to make sure happens.
One question with regard to this, to Danielle Smith. I mean, since she's part of a party, she must have, I mean, is she the only one they didn't realize that she was going to go in that direction, or is it a mistake?
What I believe is they read the writing on the wall. Albertans were vehemently against mandates. So if they tried to put somebody into power that was going to basically do what Jason Kenney did, which was pay them lip service and then flip-flop and do the mandates like he was told to do, like all the other, it wouldn't fly anymore. The people in Alberta simply wouldn't put up with it. And that's the only reason it's free. It's just like in the United States. Look at California. Look at New York. They have horrible restrictions and a horrible way of life. Why? Because the people allow it. You always get the government you deserve. You will get the restrictions that you put up with. It's that simple. If you're one of those people like me and you're not going to put up with restrictions, surprise, you're not going to have restrictions. I've never worn a mask because I won't. It's that simple. If you have that conviction, you will not be restricted. But if you're one of those so-called men that is so afraid of confrontation in your own shadow that you're going to put on the mask before you go into the grocery store because, you know, the little 70-year-old door greeter might tell you, hey, Sonny, put on the mask, and you don't have the balls to say no, well, then you deserve to wear the mask because you're a bitch. And I'm sorry. That's the only reason this is able to happen, because the vast majority of people have been weakened in mind and body, and that's why they're compliant. If you're strong in mind and you're strong in body, you're going to be confident and you're going to be able to make your own decisions. And the last thing you're going to want is somebody else making your decisions for you. But if you're weak, if you're a man and you never go to the gym and you're weak and you know that the average guy out there can beat you up, you're going to be a lot more compliant, aren't you? Let's think about jail for a second. If you're in jail and some guy says, give me your shoes, and you're 120 pounds because you've never lifted a weight in your life and you've never fought in your life, what are you going to do? You're going to give him your friggin' shoes because you know you're going to get your ass kicked. Meanwhile, if you're in jail and you're jacked up and you train every day and you've been doing martial arts for 20 years and some guy says, give me your shoes, you're going to smile at him and say no. And that guy's going to realize, oh my God, this guy's confident and will probably beat the shit out of me, so I'm not going to try to take his shoes. And surprise, surprise, not only did you retain your shoes, you didn't even have to fight. Why? Because you were prepared to. The average man is not prepared to. The average man projects that weakness. The average man projects this aura that their compliance makes them virtuous. No, their compliance makes you weakness. The measure of a man is his willingness to act. A man is supposed to be dangerous, but he's supposed to be able to control it. A man that's not dangerous, a man that cannot take action, is not a man. He's a compliant servant. And that's what we have now. We have an entire globe populated by males, not men, populated by males who have been demoralized, have been weakened in body and mind to now be compliant, subservient slaves. So much so that they won't even stand up for their own families, for their own children. That's disgusting.
But isn't that true for women as well? Let the children to allow them to have.
That's the problem. The women are leading the charge. When I get calls about angry parents that don't want to put the mask on their kid, 90% of the time it's a mom, not a dad. And the mom's complaining that the dad's a bitch. And the number one thing I hear from women is, I wish my husband was more like you. Let me say that again. I wish my husband was more like you. You think a woman wants a husband that says, "Oh, honey, put that mask on. I don't want to have to deal with anybody." Or, "Little Johnny, put the mask on because you don't want to upset the teachers at your school." That's not a man. You're a bitch. You're not a father. You're a bitch. You're not a husband. You're a bitch. And I have no problem telling you, because guess what? You're not going to do anything because you're a bitch. Period. It's really that simple. Every man needs to look at themselves in the mirror and say, this happened because of me. If you're relying on your woman or your children to be the ones to stand up for your family, you are a disgusting subhuman. When in the history of humanity have the men sat down and let the women lead the charge physically? Ever. Ever. Only in 2022, because you see it in movies. Charlize Theron going in there and beating the crap out of 17 guys in one room. No, ladies and gentlemen, in reality, the man has to fight for his family. The man has to fight for his country. The man has to fight for himself. If you're letting your woman do that, you're not a man. You're not fulfilling your role. You're not fulfilling your duties or your responsibilities. So look at yourself in the mirror and do what you got to do to train yourself mentally, physically, become stronger, become prepared to be what you need to be, a man. Thank you. Q is the biggest psyop. Q was going on long before COVID, ladies and gentlemen. Long before COVID. Any day now, the elites are going to get arrested. All the pedophiles are going to get arrested. The white hats are coming. That's a lie, ladies and gentlemen. It was a lie before COVID. It is a lie now. What have they white hats done for you? Oh, you saw something that you interpreted and somebody else interpreted. These so-called Q drops. Ladies and gentlemen, Q is a psyop that's no different than an election campaign. They're both designed for one reason, to make you believe that somebody else is coming to save you, so you sit on the couch, do nothing, and sit there and be like, oh, everything's going to be fine. Donald Trump is going to win and he's going to save me, or everything's going to be fine. The white hats are going to be arresting people within weeks. How many years have the Q people been saying the exact same mantra? And it's always just around the corner when these massive arrests and all these massive revelations are going to happen. Yet they never happen. But the Q people will sit there and wait. In fact, when I questioned the Q theory, you know what they said about me? I had been replaced by a clone. They literally took 2 pictures of me, taken about 6 months apart, and started circling random parts of my face that they said were different, that proved that I had been replaced by a clone. You know, they just cloned me, got all the exact same tattoos. They paid off my wife so she wouldn't care that they just killed me off and gave her a new husband. You know, the clone had a bigger dick, so she was happy with it. Like, give me a friggin' break. This is the stuff that they actually believe, though. They actually are that stupid to believe that I got kidnapped, replaced by a robot or a clone, and that's why I came out and said Q isn't real. If Q is real, who is Q? If Q is real, what's Q's end goal? If Q is real, when is it going to happen? Oh, Q is anonymous. Oh, Q is going to save the world. And oh, it's going to happen anytime. Just keep waiting. You guys can keep waiting. I'm a man of action. I'll take action. You guys, you sit there and wait and do nothing. You know what the saying is? All evil needs to succeed is for good men to do nothing. And what does the average Q man do? Sit on their couch, look at their computer screen, and wait for the next Q drop that tells them, oh, just around the corner, this person's going to get arrested. The children are being saved from tunnels, ladies and gentlemen. And Chris Sky is now a clone because he doesn't believe this.
Well, I think
sorry, guys. I actually need proof for my shit. And you guys posting YouTube videos of somebody telling you, trust me, bro, is not proof. It's ridiculous. Sorry.
I think it's good.
And I just pissed off the whole Q movement. Watch, within 2 days, I'm a government agent because I don't believe in the Q movement. That's going to be the next thing. I'm controlled opposition because I bash the Q movement. Hey, Q movement, until you can tell me something concrete, you're about as crazy as the corona bat. Thank you. Question. For all the people that still believe in the vaccine, how many times does the government have to prove to be lying to you? When the vaccine first came out, it was 95% effective. If you get the vaccine, you're not going to get COVID. You're not going to give COVID to others. And you're only going to need 2 shots. Now, all of a sudden, you can still get COVID, you can still pass it on to others, and you need a shot every couple months. But when you tell people this, they're like, they never said you weren't going to get COVID. They never said you weren't going to have to take more shots. But that's exactly what they said, literally over and over. People from all around the world told you exactly that. You believed them like idiots. You took the jabs, you got sick, and then they literally just lied to you and said, oh, well, we never said it was not going to make you get sick. The definition of a vaccine means it's supposed to provide you immunity from the disease and prevent you from passing the disease on to others. But because your ego and your brain power is so fragile, you will literally allow them to change definitions on the fly and literally allow them to lie to your face. I can play you a clip right now of Anthony Fauci saying unequivocally, the vaccine is 95% effective. If you get the vaccine, you will not get COVID and you will not pass it on to others. And then I can play a clip of him 6 months later saying, oh, the vaccine was never meant to prevent you from getting it and never meant to prevent transmission. And you show that to the average vaccinated person, and even after showing them the first video, they will still look you in the eye and say, he never said that. It is mass psychosis, mass brainwashing, and ultimately mass denial based upon weakness of mind. It goes back to that weakness. A strong person will acknowledge, I made the wrong choice. I got played for a fool. A weak person will literally deny the bold-faced, indisputable evidence in front of their face. Just like the cheating woman. You show her the video of her husband having sex with the other woman. Oh, it wasn't him. Or that's not them. Or that video's from before we met. They come up with any rationalization to continue believing the lie. And that's where we are now. If you're one of those people that took 5 shots, you're one of the stupidest, weakest, most easily manipulated humans, not just on planet Earth today, but in human existence. And of course, you don't want to admit that. You want to pretend like you're just doing the right thing and you're making the right choice. No, all you were doing was refusing to do any research, refusing to actually make your own choice, and just literally doing as you were told because it was easier. That's it. And because you took the easy way out, you screwed yourself. How many people do you know of that lost their job, career, etc., because they didn't take a vaccine? I know many. How many of them regret their decision for not taking the vaccine? None. Not one. How many people do you know took the vaccine against their will, said, I had no choice, the big lie. I needed to take it for work. I needed to take it to travel. I needed to take it to see my grandmother. None of those were needs. Those were all you making the easy way out choice. I don't want to look for another job. I don't want to wait to travel. So I chose to take the vaccine. You didn't have no choice. You made the choice that you felt was easiest. And guess what? How many of those stupid people regret taking the poison injection, if they're even alive to regret it? Answer, very, very many. So was it a good idea to take 5 jabs and wear 3 masks? Obviously not. So if you still think it was, you're one of the stupidest and most easily manipulated people that ever graced the face of the earth. And you're going to pay the consequences. If you don't know that every single COVID jab you took made you less healthy, reduced your life expectancy, then you're a complete moron. And every single one you took caused exponential more damage to your body.